Welcome to this language focus dealing with describing trends. First of all, when you describe trends, quite often what you'll be doing is using visuals. For instance, here we've got the specific visual with all these different segments that are going to indicate what we're looking at. This is, of course, a pie chart. Another visual that we have is when we've got all these different bars aligned next to one another, which makes it, of course, a bar chart or a bar graph. And finally, another common type that we often find are these lines showing some kind of progression on a line graph. Now, all these visuals are very useful if we use them properly. Mainly if we want to describe one moment in time. It's truly a snapshot of one point. Bar charts and pie charts are typically used. Whereas if we want to indicate trends, that is, things happening over time or simultaneously, or looking at how two variables interact with one another, then we normally use line graphs. This for the visuals. Now, what are the words that we're going to use? Very important is that you first describe what your graph is about. What you normally do is you look at what is mentioned, what is expressed, as you can see with the vocab in red, what is expressed on the axes. For instance, if you have a line graph or a bar chart, you have an x-axis and a y-axis, and they intersect in the 0 point or origin. And you can talk to people, you can write on your visual what is expressed in all these different things, so that people first have the framework ready, so that they are ready to interpret whatever is happening in the graph. Then, once you're going to start and describe your trend, you have four main categories, things that will happen. Things will, if we look at the right-hand column here in red, things can go down, or they can go up, and they can do that pretty fast, both up or down. Specific vocab that we can use there is, for going down, that things decline, decrease, drop, fall, or slide, whereas when they're going up, things are climbing, rising, or increasing. Fast going up becomes to soar, to rocket, to climb, to rise, to increase. Whereas going down really, really fast is crashing, collapsing, plummeting, or plunging. So as you can see, the vocab that you use is already going to be very helpful in explaining to the persons reading or listening to your explanation of the graph what is happening. Now, looking at this vocab, we can also see that we can not only use verbs but also nouns. Words like there was a rise. But rise in itself gives an indication, but if we want to be more specific, we can add an adjective. What kind of rise was it? Well, it was a gradual rise. Or no, it was really a dramatic or remarkable rise. And using those adjectives, we can qualify the extent of the rise. If we can use adjectives with nouns, of course, we can do the same thing by combining adverbs to verbs. When something rises, it could rise significantly and should really be noted, or it could just be a marginal rise, then it rises marginally. So to be as specific as possible, we can use verbs and nouns and combine them with adjectives and adverbs. Once we start to do all of this using these nouns and verbs, it's very important to look at the use of prepositions. These are probably the three most important prepositions when describing trends. First one is that there is a rise, so the noun, rise, there's a rise in something. The variable that you're measuring, a rise or a fall in temperature. And then the amount by which this is going to go up or down is going to be indicated, well, there's a rise in temperature of 5 degrees. However, if you're not going to use the noun a rise, but you're going to use the verb rises or falls, you're then going to indicate the amount by which something goes up or down using the preposition by. Temperature rises by 5 degrees. So, keeping in mind there's a rise in temperature of 5 degrees is saying the same thing as temperature rises by 5 degrees. So we've looked at specific verbs, at how you can combine adjectives and adverbs with your nouns and verbs to be more specific, and we've taken a look at the very important prepositions. I hope this will help you describe your trends very accurately in the future.